not save a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. 'Twas blind, but now I see.
Let's try it. Maybe just one verse.
In this very room, there's quite enough love for one like me. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for one like me. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For spirit, one spirit, is in this very room. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all of us. And there's quite enough hope and quite enough power to chase away any gloom. For spirit, one spirit, is in this very room. In this very room. In this very room. All right. Well, good morning, CSLRV. We would like to welcome you to stand up if you'd like to for our opening song, which we can all sing together. Today it will be I Release and I Let Go. We'll have a little kind of intro part first. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go. Let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo! No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Woohoo! Beautiful. Thank you. Anton Misrek and Lori Berryhill, our amazing musicians. Thank you very much. Welcome everybody to Centers for Spiritual Living, Rogue Valley, in partnership with Unity. And here on this glorious fall day, going to talk about forgiveness today. It's going to be a good day. And then we have a drumming circle, healing session, workshop afterwards. So Centers for Spiritual Living is a new thought teaching, a metaphysical teaching, believing that we create our reality, and that our energy, it's the quantum physics of it all too, our energy that are in our thoughts attract into our lives what we believe, what our belief system is. I mean, how powerful is that, right? We can change our thinking, we can change our lives, we can look at our thoughts, we can change our thoughts. And we are an all-inclusive teaching as well. We accept all people on all paths to God, and we believe in all paths to God, which is another beautiful part of this teaching, is the interfaith, that we are all spiritual beings having this wonderful human experience. And you know, something speaks to us a little bit different. We are interconnected, but we are also beautiful individual expressions of the divine. And how cool is that? That's pretty cool. So our practitioner today was Laura Stewart, and she had something come up, a family emergency, so she had to leave. And so we've got a surprise for you. We have a couple of people that will be practitioner students, I believe. They are both on the board. So today, filling in for practitioner is Kathy Green on our board of directors and Shannon Snively. So they'll be coming up and teaming up together to bring us into this space after the contemplative music. And our beautiful Dr. Reverend Linda Rapon did an amazing meditation for us this morning and is holding the high watch. And we do have a workshop after service. And is there anybody here for the first time? If you could raise your hand so we could welcome you. Anybody for the first time? All right, welcome. We have food after service in the social hall. If you'd like to stay, get to know you a little bit better. And then after our social hall, we will be doing a workshop. So please turn your cell phones off. And if more people come in, if we could just be aware of scooting in a little bit so we can offer pew space for them. And there's always space up front too. That's always that area that people don't always like to sit because you're right in the spotlight. Right here next to Lauren. Okay, so we are going to move. Let's take a deep contemplative breath first and just become ever so present to this very precious present moment. Knowing that as we become present, we receive the gift of the presence. I'll turn it over to Anton and Laura.
Good morning, everyone. So let's just take another deep breath and breathe into your rib cage and expand it. And as you release, just let the air go down and have your awareness inside your body. I know that God is everywhere all the time. God is always the best and highest good. Right action, love, prosperity, all things good. We are that. Since we are part of God, we are that and more. We are love, abundance of all good things. This service today is full of all that and more. I know, therefore, that everyone is getting exactly what they need today, and to heal and to thrive and to attract abundance of all good things into our lives. I'm so grateful for this truth, so grateful for this knowing, so grateful for these practices. And I release it to the universe knowing it is happening now, and I am so grateful, and so it is. Thank you. How about, maybe I'll light the peace candle.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to light the peace candle, knowing that this vibration and this light is shining around the world on all of us and helping to bring more peace into our consciousness.
And from the Course in Miracles, it is your forgiveness that will bring the world of darkness to the light. It is your forgiveness that lets you recognize the light in which you see. Forgiveness is a demonstration that you are the light of the world. Through your forgiveness does the truth about yourself return to your memory. Therefore, in your forgiveness lies your salvation. Illusions about yourself and the world are one. That is why all forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Your goal is to find out who you are, having denied your identity by attacking creation and its creator. Now you are learning how to remember the truth. For this attack must be replaced by forgiveness, so that thoughts of life may replace thoughts of death. And together we say, and so it is.
We're going to do a new song that Anton wrote.
Every little thought, every little deed, every little want, every little need is an expression of love, an impression of love, a connection to love, or a call for love, a reflection of love, a perception of love, a procession of love. It's a cry for love. Once I finally realized how much this life was worth, I began to make amends to all that I had heard, a reflection of love. Of love, a connection to love, a call for love. passion of love, passion of love, a connection to love, a call for love, an expression of love, perception of love, a procession of love, a cry for love, a blessing of love.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect intro into the talk on forgiveness. So this month we are doing the book, The 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life. It's a mighty little book. And so the 5 gifts also match up to GIFTS. And so last week, Rev Kimberly and I did gratitude and intentions. And this week is forgiveness. And so forgiveness is not a one-time thing. Forgiveness, there's these old perceptions. I had them at one point too, that once you forgive, that's it, I'm good, I'm good. It's an ongoing spiritual practice. It is really an ongoing spiritual practice. And there's some great points that Diane Harmony made in this book. She talks about how it's a spiritual practice and not a mental practice. Because the mental practice, we get into our stories, and it's the he said, she said. It triggers old stuff in us, and we feel like we gotta I'm not wrong, get into that mental, I'm not wrong, and I'm the one that is the victim here, and so moving back into seeing forgiveness as a spiritual practice, we come from our hearts. And when we come from our hearts, that's where the place of true forgiveness comes from. One of the, I think, key points that she makes too, which I think everybody in this room knows, is that forgiveness frees the forgiver. Forgiveness frees the forgiver. And so forgiveness is about us. It's not about somebody else. It's about us. It's about freeing ourselves from those negative feelings, those things that aren't love, and allowing ourselves to let them go. I took a class one time on abundance, and forgiveness was a piece of it. And the analogy is when we don't forgive and we carry this stuff around, it's like carrying trash bags, stinky, icky trash bags around with us and walking around with them and holding them. It's just such a visual for me, and putting them down, really just putting them down. And forgiving is not accepting the unacceptable. So that's another, I think, key point to think about with forgiveness is healthy boundaries are important, and if there's behaviors that are not working for you or that are outside of your boundaries, forgiveness is not setting boundaries. So having forgiveness and healthy boundaries go together like this, and having forgiveness and not having to have somebody in your life, that's okay too. So there's a lot of different facets in the forgiveness. A quote from Martin Luther King: "We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love." So forgiveness and love go very close together, right? Hand in hand, hand in hand. And as we move through forgiveness, sometimes it's not that easy to forgive somebody. And sometimes some things to forgive are really, really, really hard to forgive. Some of those moments in our life. I have had a few that even when I've done like deep forgiveness work, I just kind of brushed over them. I think my soul wasn't quite ready for those deeper forgiveness pieces of my life and people in my life. And one of the things that I talk about, is the unintentional plug for Kathy, is radical forgiveness, which Kathy, we're going to talk about in our announcement, and Ellen's going to do a testimony, is going to be doing a workshop. But radical forgiveness really helped me go deeper, dive into the forgiveness. And another thing that she talks about in this book is sometimes we can't forgive right away, even if we want to, because it's deep and it hurts. And how she puts it is just having the willingness to forgive. Doesn't mean that we have to forgive right away, and we don't want to bypass, talks about that as well. We don't want to bypass or sugarcoat. If there's feelings that we have, those feelings want to be felt. And that needs to happen as well. And so moving to a place of being willing to forgive and knowing that the time will be right when the time is right, that we can't force it. We can't force it for true forgiveness. So one of the things that I really liked about this mighty little book is she also talked about the inner child. So the first section in the book, she talks about forgiveness of others. And then the final stage of that forgiveness of others is to be able to have gratitude for the situation. Whew, that's not an easy one. That's not an easy one of the lessons that we learn, especially some of the core wounds that we have. But knowing that everything in our lives make us who we are today. And we are these beautiful, magnificent beings. And if all of those things made us who we are, then once we can truly forgive with our heart, we can have gratitude for the lessons, that people bring into our lives. And so that's deep forgiveness work. That's deep spiritual practice. And that's not something that we can just sugarcoat or do this broad brush stroke. It takes prayer and contemplation, and sometimes books and workshops and coaches and therapists. So then after that piece, she gets into the inner child. And I thought, I just was really impressed by that. I've done some deep inner child work. And as a child, growing up, there are certain rules that we had to go by. Certain rules at school, certain rules at home, certain rules from the family, certain even rules in friendships and things that we did. And, sometimes some of us come from a generation where children are to be seen and not heard. And some of these things as kids, we then customize ourselves, give up our true, authentic selves to fit in, especially with our parents, because what we're looking for is true love. So if we're not getting the love that we want, we're not allowed to let our natural self out. And that little child is still inside of us. That little child's still in the subconscious, and that little child's still running a lot of what's going on in our lives. And so embracing our inner child and letting our inner child, our experiences, integrating with that, bringing back our natural selves, bringing back that childlike awe and that childlike joy, and also bringing back the forgiveness of knowing that our parents did the best they could, and our teachers, most of them, did the best they could. That there is a peace there. When you think about some of the sayings like, children should be seen and not heard, and boys, for the boys don't cry, suck it up. I remember my boys playing football and hearing the coach say that to them, and how I was just like, oh, crying's good. Or, there's people starving in the world, or people have it so rough, you shouldn't have hurt feelings. You have a roof over your head. But then you couldn't express your feelings. I mean, for me, an example is that I'm emotional and I cry and I'm sensitive. And I remember there was a time when I was working with my therapist that I had this Raggedy Ann doll that I absolutely love. And my dad gave me the doll, which even made it more special, and my grandma. And I lost the doll. And it was a pivotal point in my life where I felt like I had to lessen my feelings because I was so emotional about it. My mom was like good with me being emotional at first, but I was a little over the top. And then she was like, you're over the top kind of thing. Like, that's too much. It's just a doll. But to me, the doll symbolized so much more. And working through it, I realized at that time, I said, oh, my feelings are too much. I need to cry less, or I need to stuff them. I need to not express so much. I need to not, and that's who I am. You know, it's like these pieces of me that I disengaged with because I didn't feel like I fit into society's norms, you know. And then as an adult, the same thing. I'm in banking, you know, and I'm feeling I need to be a corporate banker and very mature and very, you know, I don't know what I was thinking, but like I felt like I had to fit the role, you know. And I was like, I had to be what they wanted me to be, you know, be what they wanted me to be. And I was a female manager in banking in the early 90s. And you didn't see a lot of female manager bankers, and I got some pushback from some people. And I always had to have the suits on, and I always had to have the image, but it got to a place, luckily I started in my spiritual journey towards my end of my banking career, and realized how much I didn't fit in that world. And that started my path of bringing me back to me, finding my inner voice, embracing my inner child, and expressing life authentically, you know, and that's the authentic piece. And so she even says in here that our inner child, for us to really forgive, and there's like the exact words that she said, it's the voice of, okay, it says in the book, the voice of the inner child says, do not ignore me. Old pain and memories from your childhood are ready to be healed, honoring all of ourselves. And then the inner child says in the book, only when you love me unconditionally can we forgive. Only when you love me unconditionally can we forgive. And my therapist had me get a Raggedy Ann doll. And whenever I see her sitting on the chair, it reminds me of embracing all of my inner child, loving my little girl, all of her muchness and her emotional and her, you know, quirkiness and the beauty of that inner child. And so it's a sweet part that we don't always talk about when we talk about forgiveness, to bring in and knowing that we embrace all of who we are, and we embrace our little inner child. So the other piece on forgiveness is forgiving ourselves. That's a biggie. So forgiving ourselves is having, you know, this love and compassion that we share with our world, but really to be in a place of love and compassion, it starts within ourselves. And so to have this love and compassion for ourselves and then be able to take that love and compassion out into the world. Self-forgiveness is essential for an abundant life. You know, because as we forgive ourselves, we move into a place, again, that heart space of allowing ourselves to be human. I mean, we are not going to be perfect. Humans are quirky. We are quirky. I mean, we are these divine, powerful, limitless spiritual beings, right? We just, like each one of us, like we have the cosmos in us. And we are also in this physical form, living in this quirky society with these quirky cultural norms, trying to figure things out, you know, on a spiritual path. And that's quirky. And I have learned, and I think one of the biggest learning lessons for me is to bring laughter into it, to see how quirky we are, and to see that we are not going to be perfect. We are going to make mistakes, and that's okay. You know, having compassion for ourselves around that. Some of the things too around forgiveness is, in the book talks about, we have the committee in our head. You know, I don't know how many of you saw the Disney movie Inside Out, but okay, it's a great movie because the committee's up there, you know, and they're all on the control panel driving the emotions of this little girl's life, and it's such an incredible visual, and they kept pushing sorrow out of the way. Like, no, we only want joy. Sorrow, you go over here, you know, kicking her out of the way. And really, when the movie came together, and the little girl was just in such a bad place, it was sorrow that needed to come to the control panel and lead for a while. And she needed to feel all of her feelings. Well, in the committees that we have the old voices too, which fits into forgiving the inner child of not good enough or not perfect enough or shoulda, woulda, couldas, you know, all of that stuff. And letting that go, and knowing, you know, Maya Angelou has that quote of, do the best you can until you know better, then do better. And I hold on to that quote because I have some of that perfectionism in me. And I bet you a lot of you could relate to that a little bit, is, you know, do the best you can. And when you know better, do better. It's so simple, but so powerful at the same time. Because beating ourselves up, we, a lot of times as humans, are harder on ourselves than we are on anybody else. We talk to ourselves more mean and more harsh than we talk to anybody else. And so how do we give ourselves that kind of compassion? So the 4 steps that she talks about forgiveness in the book is banish any denial that you might have about the mistakes that you made. So just being open and vulnerable. And it is a spiritual practice, you know, it is kind of, it's good to have maybe a clearing once a year, sometimes once a month, and how nutty the world is right now. So banish any denial that you might have about the mistakes, opening to a deeper truth, claim the mistake, and drop the judgment you held around it. So claim the mistake and drop the judgment. That's a biggie. Give yourself an opportunity to do something about the mistake and make amends to the person you have harmed or hurt. And when we make an amends to somebody, I've done a lot of amends in my life, is from the heart space. You know, I remember when I first, after I was divorced, my first big amends that I did, I was in Al-Anon at the time, and it was my ex-husband. And I knew it'd be a little rocky. And so I was making amends for all the things that I felt that I did, and he just jumped on the bandwagon. Yeah, and this and that and this and that. I was like, whoa, this is deep spiritual practice. And you know, to not get accusatory back and forth, because he wasn't at a place to see his place, and I had to be okay with that. I had to be okay with that. He just kept throwing more stuff in. I'm like, okay, I think we're good. You can go now. I did it. You know, and my mom, you know, when we talk about some of the things that, you know, parents unintentionally do as we grow up in squashing our natural state, is also me being a handful for my mom, making amends with my mom, and she was a little more gracious than my ex-husband about it. And so, yeah, it's just, you know, it's this journey. But when we do this forgiveness work, life is not as heavy. It's like we're letting go of these weights. We open ourselves up to more love. We open our hearts up to more heart space living. We open our journey up, you know, that energetic, because all of these things that are unhealed are still in our subconscious. They're still working. They come out sideways, you know. Okay, now that this hurt me and I haven't forgiven, now I'm going to protect myself. And now it's going to be harder for me to make friends, or it's going to be harder for me to be in another relationship. But as we forgive, and we forgive ourselves and take our part, then it's easier for us to move on in the world in a loving space. You know, it's like this, I love visuals, but like, I mean, there was a point in my life where I had so much that I was so challenged with. My heart was incredibly protected. And I felt like I was this little turtle walking around with the shell around it, not letting anybody in because I was afraid they were going to hurt me. You know, and maybe some of you can relate to that. You know, so as we do our spiritual practices in this world and we come back to our heart space, forgiveness is such an incredible tool to do a clearing, And even when we do deep forgiveness work, there's, you know, there's the tune-ups, I like to call them, where we can do the cleaning. And sometimes we might be the main person that we need to forgive. Sometimes we might be the main person to forgive. So another quote from Maya Angelou, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself to forgive. Forgive everybody. And it is truly a gift for you. Forgive everybody. Marianne Williamson, the practice of forgiveness is our most important contribution to healing of the world. The practice of forgiveness is our most important contribution to the healing of the world. Because, you know, the he said, she said, the divide that happens right now, the more that we can come from a heart space, the more we can have heart space conversation, start to lessen that divide a little bit. So, with forgiveness, I know it's kind of a deep topic, and it's not easy, and I honor that for each person. I'm not up here to sugarcoat it or make it seem like it's a cakewalk, because it isn't. It's some of the hardest work I've ever done in my entire life. For myself, forgiving myself, and forgiving others, the key players. The key players were the hard ones. And as I have, my life has opened up, my heart has opened up. And I think for each of us in that space, what a blessing that is. We get this one precious life, you know? And even if we believe we come back, we're probably in a different type form, you know? So we get this one precious life just like we are. And we are here to, like Rev Pat Campbell would say, to give God a good time. We are here to give God a good time. We're here to be in joy. We are here to be in love. We are here to be in awe. We are here to have that childlike wonder and the beauty of this world that we're living in. And so whatever that is for each of us that we can let go of, or we can forgive, or we can give ourselves time and space to move back into that beauty of this one precious life that we get. I have a couple more quotes for you, then we're going to do a prayer together. This is Alexander Pope, to err is human, to forgive, divine. That's a good one, huh? True forgiveness is when you can say, thank you for this experience. That's Oprah Winfrey. Thank you. Forgiveness is not an occasional act. It is a constant attitude. Martin Luther King. It's a constant attitude. So I'm going to call up our prosperity team. We are going to do a prayer. So there's sheets on your bench. And one thing that's really cool about Centers for Spiritual Living is that we have a spiritual mind treatment. And so we talk about the quantum physics of things. We talk about how everything is energy and how we attract energy in, and how we put our thoughts into the universe. Spiritual mind treatment is a process to do that, which is a prayer. It's a formal way of saying a prayer, of being very intentional about what we're calling in. So we thought that it would be fun to do the arm movements with the prayer today. So I'm going to call up the prosperity team to come up. They're going to be doing the arm movements for us. Come on up. And then if everybody wants to stand up and do the arm movements with us, we're just going to have fun with this. Okay, so we're first going to go over the outline, and then we're actually going to do the prayer. But so the outline is it's recognition, unification. So God is, I am. Realization, I know this is what I know. So I know that I am wholeness and abundant is the two words we're going to use. I know that I'm wholeness and abundant. And then I am so grateful for this wholeness and abundance, and then releasing it. So, and then you can see the arm movements on here. And so, and everybody can say, like, God is, I am, I know. So, and with the hand movements, all right? Ready? Number one, God is. God is abundance, prosperity, love, unconditional grace, and power. I am love, I am grace, I am unconditional love, and I am infinite power. Realization, I know that as I love unconditionally, I feel love unconditionally. I know that as I love unconditionally, I feel love unconditionally. I am so thankful for this truth. I am so thankful for this truth. I release it, and so it is. Great job, everybody. Thank you. Woo! It's just kind of fun, and you can take these home. There's extra ones in the back if you want. If you are wanting to feel more peace in your life, you can do this in the morning and just say, God is peace, I am peace, I know peace, I am grateful for peace, and so it is. So it can be as simple as that. And it's fun. So, and you can do the arm movements too, because when we're moving, it actually moves the energy more as well. So I am going to do a quick closing prayer, and then we'll move into music. So as we allow ourselves to breathe into this very precious sacred moment, knowing that God is everywhere, that God is divine, God is love, God is oneness, God is forgiveness. God doesn't even need to forgive because God is all love. God is the infinite cosmos and the knowingness. Whew. And that we are each individual beautiful expressions of the divine. We are love, we are grace, we are knowingness, we are beauty. We are infinite possibilities and infinite knowingness. And what I know is that as we open our hearts and continue to expand, as we forgive, as we let go, as we surrender to the beauty of this life, we allow love to continue to expand in, through, and around us. Whew. Knowing that this life is good, this life is God, this life is infinite, this life is knowingness. And we are here to give God a good time. We are here to be in joy and laughter and oneness and connection and openness and heart space. And for this, I give great, great, great thanks, knowing that it is good, that it is God, that it is now, it is released, and together we say, and so it is, and so it is. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'd like to invite up our friend Christo. He's
Thank
a
you.
wonderful drummer, and he will be teaching a workshop today after the social time, after the service. So for those of you, you might hear more about it during the announcements, but I'm sure you can talk to him and ask more about it.
So after we've forgiven each other and ourselves, we can walk more lightly on the earth. This is an earth chant. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. The earth is our mother. We must take care of her. Hey yana ho yana, hey yana. 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 Her sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take, her sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take. Her sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take, her sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take. Hey yana ho yana, hey yana. Hey yana ho yana, hey yana. Hey yana ho yana, hey yana. Hey yana ho yana, hey yana.
I didn't want it to stop. That was great. Great. Good to see you, Krista. Thanks for being here. All right. So we have somebody that is going to come up and share. She is a beloved member of our community. Used to be on the board, used to be our board president. Renee Hansen. This is our Prosperity Month, and so we are doing little short talks on prosperity. So I'd like to call Renee Hansen up to do. You want to do it down there? Sure. I'll hand you the mic. Yay, Renee.
Good morning. As always, it is such a beautiful pleasure to see each one of you. As you know, since you've seen me up here several times, I was a member of the Prosperity team. And it was a beautiful process of looking at what our practices and beliefs around prosperity were. It brought back some wonderful memories from my childhood. I remember being given 25 cents. This really dates me. Being 25 cents allowance on Saturdays with the instructions that 10 cents of that would go in the collection and that I got to keep 15 cents. So I knew that it all came from God, and I knew that I was to give back to God as a thank you for the 15 cents that I got to spend any way I wanted. So that's where my experience of prosperity started, was in my family, and I'm very grateful for that. When Reverend Kimberly asked me to talk about what matters to me here, what's important to me here, and why I'm here, she brought back another memory from my childhood about the loving spiritual community my family belonged to. I felt I belonged, I felt loved and supported, and I wanted to contribute to that community. It was my community. Those two memories from my childhood more than paid back anything I did for the prosperity team, because I too, of course, have lots of stories about things that were less than stellar in my family or those memories. But it's a tribute to this center that those are fading and they're being replaced with the wonderful memories and the gratitude that I had for those years. So when I was thinking about what is it that's important for me here, and the most important thing is you, every single one of you. Those times in COVID when we were isolated and were not able to see and touch and hug each other, where we didn't get to see each other's faces, made me so more grateful for seeing you every week. For the people that I've known a long time, for our Unity partners since we moved in here, and for each of you who've come in recently, and for those of you who came for the first time today, I so much appreciate and need you. That's part of why I'm here. So, some other things, probably the next most important reason I'm here is that I am challenged. I'm challenged to grow. I'm challenged to serve and to contribute. And Reverend Kimberly was doing her job today. I'm not grateful yet, but I will be. I had this well thought out talk that I was going to give, and what I'm going to share instead is from my heart. She called me to share from my heart. And this story that I'm going to tell you, this incident could not have happened without CSL and all of you and all of my experiences here. My 14-year-old granddaughter came to visit me this summer for 2 weeks. I hadn't seen her for 3 years. The last time I saw her, she was a little girl. Now she's a young woman coming into herself, understanding that she needs to be who she is, identifying that she's gay and sharing that information with me. We had a wonderful time. My intention during that whole time was I tried to bring her here for teens and it didn't work because we didn't have anybody that day. But so what she said to me at the airport was, "Grandma, I feel so much better about myself, more so than I have for a very, very long time. You never said I was too anything. You didn't say that any ideas I had were dumb or anything I wanted was dumb. And I want to tell you that I'm going home in better shape than I came. That would not... I'm not telling you that story to my own horn. It's Michelle's fault because it came from my heart. And I know that was not where I came from. I know that I learned that and have been challenged to do that here. We go around with rubber bands on our wrists, reminding us to not criticize or judge. And I'm so grateful for that. I want this community to continue forever so that young people, especially young people, benefit from these teachings. Thank you for all you are in my life.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you, Renee. We love you. She has contributed so much. She definitely, the leadership and her heart and who she is as a person. We appreciate you. Okay, so now is the time for our offering. So I'd like the ushers to please come forward. So if you would like to repeat the affirmation after me, graciously I give from a place of love.
Graciously I give from a place of love.
Knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive.
So do I richly receive.
So it is. So there's envelopes on the pews. There's CSL and Unity. There's also an opportunity to give online through Facebook or through our website, cslroguevalley.org.
We're going to do a Karak Bigfoot chant. Bigfoot's energy is sovereignty. It goes where it wants. Here we go. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, 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 hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, 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 hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, 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 hey ya. Hey ya, 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 hey ya.
That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. It was fun. Okay, so announcements. First, I just want to say to all of those that give to the center, that give to the causes that you give to in this world, thank you. Thank you. You bless many with your hearts and with your souls, and it's appreciated. So thank you. All right, now for announcements. We're going to start with the Radical Forgiveness workshop that Kathy Green is going to be doing on October 15th. Sign-ups are in the social hall, and I'm going to invite Alan Ackroyd up to just say a few words about the experience. Alan.
Radical forgiveness. I think most of us were taught probably really early in life to forgive people, like we were supposed to forgive people, right? So we just, oh yeah, I forgive you. You know, that's the end of it. It's all over. But we still carry the baggage of anger, hatred, judgment, even though we're making a superficial declaration of forgiveness. Radical forgiveness invites us to go to another level. And it takes a bigger perspective on why we're here in the first place. We're in this thing called Earth School, and we rub up against other people, sometimes in, unfortunately, adverse ways. It's all part of our growth experience. It's all part of our journey here on the earth. And seeing that in a bigger perspective, I found to be really helpful. Thank you.
Just appreciate you all. You are very special. Thank you. All right, so Taizé service, Rev Kimberly is going to be doing it with Eric Allen, who is the author of Grateful by Nature, on October 21st, and it'll be at 7 o'clock here. So please mark your calendars. That'll be really sweet. And of course, the theme's on gratitude. So now we have lots of people coming up. We have the beautiful Jean Hanna coming up to make an announcement. I'll get you the mic, yes. There you go, my dear.
Boy, my heart is so full. Whew. October 23rd, after you go to the Taizé service, come to October 23rd and celebrate with the Ice Cream Social. We are celebrating the 65 years in this building with New Thought from Unity Church. 65 years. Woohoo! And can't you feel it in the walls? Can't you feel it when you walk in here? 65 years of all that prayer, all that positive action. So anyway, we want you to come, and we'll have some alternative treats for those of you who can't eat sugar, like myself. I really shouldn't, but you know, we'll figure something out. And then the 30th, so we traded places with CSL last month, so we're going to have the October 30th will be speaking, and Alan's going to speak to us about renewal, and I hope he remembers. And then, and then we're going to have our annual meeting, and we encourage you all to come, especially if you are a Unity/CSL member or you're a Unity member. We really need you to come and give us feedback and share our experience over this last year. It's been an amazing year, a lot of change, and I'm beginning to feel more and more like we're one congregation. And I just want to hear, we just want to hear from you. We're also voting in 3 new board members, so we need your vote. We need your participation. So I hope that you will mark your calendars and please come. Okay? That's for me.
Okay, so now I get the honor of introducing my new friend, Christo, who has been referred to a dear spiritual sister of mine that I absolutely love as the drum whisperer. And I have so enjoyed getting to know you better, and I can't wait for your workshop. So can you come and tell people about your workshop? All right, right here. It's all you.
Good morning, dear friends. How are you, everybody? Yeah? First of all, I want to say my deepest thanks to Reverend Michelle, Anton, and Laura. Thank you for the welcome. Can we sparkle these folks up here? Sparkle them up. All right. So my name is Christo Polani. I'm bringing my friend. I call this drum Bear Paw. We're going to be doing a wonderful exploration of rhythm this afternoon in a practice that I call personal power practice. And it's an exploration of personal growth, knowledge, and power using 7 sacred rhythms. And this tradition comes from the Cherokee tradition. It's also a blend of Mongolian shamanism, believe it or not, with this Native American style shamanic drumming and journeying. Now today we're just going to introduce the 7 rhythms and explain all the different concordances, energetic concordances that come with these rhythms. They all have power animals and developmental stages of life and energy essences, colors, and they even match the chakra system in the body. It's a very unique and interesting system of divination using drums for spiritual growth and, as I said, personal growth, power, and knowledge using rhythm. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I have a lot of drums with me. If any of you are staying and you go, oh, I don't have a drum. Well, I have drums, many of them. As many as dozen. That's a pretty good amount, I think. So if you don't have a drum and you'd like to join, no problem. Would be happy to accommodate you there. And again, I'll be available. I have some other information about this work, the tradition of it and the lineage of it, if you're interested in that type of thing, which I'm always interested in that type of thing. I love sharing that, and I love being a carrier of the lineage. So I look forward to seeing you. It's 12:45, is that correct? We'll have a little food afterwards, and then, okay. So thank you again for the welcome, everyone. Thank you, Reverend Michelle. And I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart.
So the cost of the workshop is $30, and we're also not turning anybody away. And so if somebody would like to come and can't afford, then please do come. And it's going to be about 3 hours? 2.5. 2.5? Okay, okay. It sounds dreamy. It really sounds wonderful. So I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, and Crystal will be here after service if you have any questions. We will have social hall until about 12:30, 12:45, and then we're going to have to start setting up for the workshop, and then we'll get the workshop going for everybody. So that will be fun. Thank you. All right, final announcements is we are on the Meetup Group, so check that out for both Unity and CSL. And prayer box for CSL is in the back. Also, you can submit prayers online. Alan.
Men's group tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
Men's group tomorrow, 1 o'clock here. Yay, yay, men's group. That's exciting. Let's give them a hand for that. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Alan. So now I'd like to call the practitioners up for the closing song. If somebody would like a prayer after service, please come up and one of our practitioners will pray with you. And I just want us all to take a deep breath in, release, and just feel the beauty of who you are, knowing that it is divine, that we are interconnected, and that we share that same breath, that it is God, that it is good, that it is spirit, that it is whole, complete, love, unconditionally, grace, beauty, and oneness. And for this, I give great, 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 great thanks. And together we say, and so it is, and so it is. All right, thank you.
I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. We shine, we shine, we shine, we We shine.
We shine.
We shine.